Go to questions and comments, and we'll first go to the honourable member for Aurora, Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my honourable colleague for his great intervention. I know that his riding in BC on the island, the gorgeous Courtenay-Alberni, Courtenay-Alberni, is like mine and suffering a severe housing shortage. And I'm wondering if my honourable colleague could give some insight into his perspective on whether or not this budget adequately addresses the national crisis in housing affordability and availability of supply, and what measures he would argue are missing from that budget. Thank you.
The honourable member for Courtenay-Alberni.
Well, Mr. Speaker, first, I want to thank my colleague for the great question. And this budget does not address the housing crisis that we're in. Young people have lost hope. Mr. Speaker, we're hearing that people have to work 12 years to get a down payment to buy a house in many cities across the country. In Europe, 30% of housing is non-market housing. And in the 70s and 80s, the housing stock in Canada was over 10%, Mr. Speaker. We know it's much less than that. And the private sector hasn't delivered in building the housing that Canadians need. We need non-market housing, Mr. Speaker, and the government needs to build over 500,000 units because we know we're 300,000 units short now, but we're losing units every day as we commit to building more units. We're falling short. The gap is widening, actually, Mr. Speaker. So people are living in fear about where they're going to live. Everybody should have a right to adequate housing. And this is an opportunity for the government to get back into non-market housing because the free market isn't going to resolve these really important issues. And it is a crisis, Mr. Speaker, for many Canadians right now. And it's getting much worse. And this government hasn't dealt with it in a way that demonstrates the crisis that we're facing right now and many people are facing in our country.